I don't know. I was hoping you'd say something.
You have a title for this, don't you?
God's will, it's God's bill.
Church. God's will is God's will.
If you don't have enough provision, you can get a hold of God's vision, so you can get some. Can I get a? And that's it.
This is Church Growth with Vibrant Agency. Church Growth with Vibrant Agency.
Here's the thing I'm seeing, with a lot of our churches that we're helping them launch, they are doing their launch parties at their church building.
Not good.
And I don't think it's good because, all of ours were at restaurants and landmarks, and nobody that you need to be a neutral ground is what I'm telling them.
People, like especially Christians, we love like comfortable stuff. We like doing church. We like 4 songs. We like a video. We like a message. We like a closing prayer. We love that. You know what we don't like? Hey, let's get together people we don't know that well and actually have real authentic talk. Like, let's get into each other's lives. Like, have a dinner party. That's what we called a couple of ours. Why? Because everyone's been to a dinner party. Hey, come to my cell group meeting. What? No.
Yeah.
Come to our church launch party where we're going to launch authentic community. No, you don't have to say that.
Yeah.
But if you say, hey, come to a dinner party, people have been to a dinner. They have context for that.
He literally 2 hours ago is making Instagram graphics for a church of ours in Florida of, interest party for church launching. It's like, that's just.
Do you think though it's unique because they were gifted the building, and so they kind of want to show people the?
I know exactly who you're talking about, and I think that you have to always gear your. Okay, there's a lot of people that have taken over churches, and they feel this obvious like, well, I got to honor the people that have been before me because this is no. Like you need to throw everything you know about church out the window and go back to people, because people don't care about buildings. They don't care about even the story of how this all happened. They're curious about, I got 2 kids. My wife and I were once in love. We're not really feeling it anymore. Maybe God can help us. They don't care about our story. We got to be about their story. Mm-hmm. And so if we can go on to a place where they serve local craft beer and they have a really good menu of like bar food and people are feeling comfortable, then we remove a barrier for people to come, because there are already barriers, whether we acknowledge them or not.
And plus, they don't want, maybe God can help. Most of those people, that's not really what they're wanting. They might not even be saved.
Yeah.
So really what they want probably is some friends.
Yeah.
And if you make friends with somebody and, they're cool, they go to this church, there's a good kids program, maybe that's just step 1.
Yeah.
And then, maybe I'm serious about this God thing. It's beyond just like a friend club.
What I found that people want most is they want a relationship and they want responsibility. They want something to do, because you feel kind of awkward when you're just there, you don't have anything to do. But once you give someone a responsibility, they're like, oh, I know, I'm the guy that does the chairs.
It's theirs too.
Yeah, they own it. Too. And then secondly, they need a relationship. And if you give them those 2 things, God can begin to work.
I love it. All right, I want to move on here. What do you think? I'm going to ask the opposite of this question next, but what do you think that you did better than the average person launching a church?
Yeah, I think we did. Well, one thing we did really well is we didn't really know anybody here in San Luis Obispo.
Thank you very much.
Except for Ross and Sarah Turner. We didn't know anyone like super cool. I should say. No. Yeah. No, we didn't know. I would say the average church planter accidentally brings a certain culture with them and tries to, or they bring launch team members and they create an us and them kind of vibe on accident. And what I mean by that is, if you have like your worship guy, your video guy, your creative guy, the 4 kids that came from your youth group, the 3 families, and now you have like 20 people, right? And you accidentally can create an us and them kind of vibe in your launch team meetings, in your any gatherings you have. And I think one thing we did really well was it was always about, it's not about us, it's about them. We exist for people that aren't yet here. So whether it's a launch team party, it's not our time to huddle up. It's not our time just to be us. It's our time to connect with new people. And I felt like in that season, it was everyone was kind of new to the table, versus I've seen guys that bring a huge launch team with them to a new city, and they already have this organic relationship that exists, and people can sense that. People are very aware of am I a part of this thing, or am I just kind of looking at it from the outside?
So a lot of people that are going to watch this or listen to this have planted their church or in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So beyond like philosophical, outreach minded, practical stuff that you think you did better than most.
Yeah, practically speaking, I think we were really good at hitting the streets. We did farmers market. We were really good at creating an online platform or online kind of brand, if you will, to help people to tell the voice, to speak out about what we're doing. We included a lot of, I think we did a good job of communicating what we were wanting to do, the church that we wanted to build. I feel like our social media, one thing that a lot of people don't realize is the power of a follow, the power of like going and direct messaging someone that likes you on Instagram or follows you on Instagram. Like that's a warm lead. Like if someone likes your church's Instagram, go and direct message them and say, hey, like, thanks so much for liking our stuff. Like, love to invite you out to the next interest meet or dinner party or whatever you want to call it. I think we did that really well. Following people that are influencers in your city. Stacy was key. Like really, my wife, Stacy, awesome at doing that. Really connecting with people via social media. I think that's something we did that really set us apart.
All right, so am I hearing you right that you would get a follow on Instagram and DM them, just say what's up?
Yep.
Personally or from the church account?
I do it personally or from the church account. Yeah. Yeah, we could have done better at that too. We had a lot of people. I mean, we grew our Instagram organically too. And another thing is, don't go after those Instagram bots. Like a lot of people will try to build their Instagram like with like fake stuff, and it's so lame because then you don't have organic reach. Yeah, and people know. Yeah.
Okay, so what did you do? I don't want to just ask could you have done better, because that's too broad. Yeah. I want to hear that, plus what are one or two epic mistakes you made?
What are one or two epic mistakes that I made? Yeah, there's so many, Ross. I don't know where to begin. I would say a couple mistakes.
Be real. Don't fluff it.
No. I really think that early on. So you're saying like mistakes during launch phase or mistakes after we launch?
You're rewinding. I asked you at the beginning of a year out, the timeline. You're rewinding now. What would you have not done that you did?
All right, so we had this really terrible Facebook campaign that this guy Ross Turner did,
and he pissed off a bunch. That's the best thing that happened to you.
Pissed off a bunch of church people.
Really?
Yeah.
It was awesome. So I don't even regret it to this day.
He created a Facebook campaign that kind of smeared other churches.
It didn't smear other churches.
It said, "Are you sick of the same old, tired, boring sermons?"
Okay, it was not quite like that.
Are you
Three
sick?
adjectives?
Yeah.
I've never gotten a better click-through rate. We're talking 3 cents per click.
It was pretty intense.
And it worked so good. Now after that, we went so softer.
From like pastors' wives, like, how dare you?
Oh, the pastors' wives.
They're mad, dude.
Now we're the opposite. You and me are the opposite, because you love everybody to love you. You don't like people to get mad.
No. I want to honor other churches.
That sounds fluffy from what I just said.
About the area needed
they needed it, and they needed it because I think, and I mean, I've gone both sides. I want to honor, and I don't care. Okay, perceived, like what my perceived intentions were, what our actual intentions were. Like either way, it was perceived negatively. So that's why I'm wanting to lead in with honor and honor other churches. I don't ever want to be perceived as like, oh, there's that young slick guy that thinks he's better than us. So we knew what we were trying to do. We
knew going into it that it was going to be bold.
Yeah.
And you told me,
people. I was trying to reach unchurched people.
Right. You told me that you were getting actual legit conversions just from that ad. Like somebody would go on the website, saw you on Facebook, and now they go to that church today.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no, people were coming to our website because of that ad, for sure. Whether to like get mad and find crap about us, but yeah. No, but that was not a mistake. I'm sorry. That was not a mistake.
It was.
I would have worded it differently.
We did. I think we changed it. I think I had him change it. I was like, hey, could you edit it?
You let it run for like 2.5 weeks, and we were getting good. We were getting good stuff.
Ross. Yeah, we gotta friends. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So, anyways, going back, I digress. So a couple mistakes we made early on.
Did you buy anything that you wish you hadn't bought?
Oh, gosh, I don't want to incriminate anyone that I love, but there's a couple of things that okay, so here's what I would have done. Yeah, gosh, I don't know. I can't say that. Sorry. There's,
No, I gotta know.
hey, you guys know, there's people that you do business with that you're like, man, that was not what I thought I was going to get. It has nothing to do with Ross, though, but it's, has nothing to do with Ross.
That sounds like it did have something.
No.
It
It has nothing to do with Ross. No. Anything I bought that, I mean, honestly, I think we could have done better with specifically our team. I think our team was waiting for more to be challenged more. And I think they wanted more responsibility, but I think I'm just like most people, I just don't trust intrinsically. Like, I feel like I'm really slow to trust people. And I know that like great leaders are like, you don't earn trust, you earn my mistrust. And I feel like I was way more on the opposite end. I felt like I was, because I had been in some pretty crappy situations in ministry before, I was a little gun shy to trust people. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't relinquish control very early, and I still am trying to figure out how to do that appropriately. Mm-hmm. I think that was one thing. I should have let more people run faster and harder with responsibility, and not just responsibility, but like not giving them a title, but said, hey, you're responsible for this season. And this is where your responsibility stops and starts, and here you go. Because I felt like I had to be very like hands, like, no, everyone's just all on the launch team. We're all on the launch team. And I think you can identify leaders pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. And I should have been way more, hey, let them run, So that's one thing.
Question?
Yeah.
What's your relationship like with the venue owners?
It's been great. Yeah,
That's a huge thing that a lot of people are doing. They're launching churches and going into venues that they don't necessarily own, into high school auditoriums and
that. So the question, how's our relationship? We just had a great talk 2 days ago with the owner, and I think for us it's been a good relationship. I think there's been a lot of give and take. I think one thing, if you're like planting a church and you're going to be in a venue that's like there's a lot of moving parts. You just got to over communicate when something's happening that you're like, hey, we keep seeing this happen. You got to find who like your ally is, because sometimes it's the gal that works at the office that you drop the check off to, like that's the gatekeeper. And so if you could talk to her, I just got made friends with everybody. And I encourage you, if you're planting a church, like just make friends with everyone. Don't try to like big league anybody. Especially in our town, like San Luis Obispo, everyone knows everybody. So if you piss off one person, you're going to piss off everyone else. Like sorry for saying that. Can I say, is that going to beep? Okay. Don't tick off anyone, because you tick off one person. Yeah. I feel like, it's been
the Facebook ad or something.
Yeah. Like some sort of Facebook smear campaign.
Personally, insult people's preaching skills.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
I would have named churches. I would have named.
Are you sick of Grace Church?
I would have thought about
it.
Okay.
Are you being judged?
Yeah. So definitely good relationship. But there's, again, I think a lot of times people are so quick they want to get a building. They want to own something or have their own stake and their own flag in the ground.
I want to bounce off that. How'd you fundraise?
Yeah, so fundraising is hard. Fundraising was not easy, especially we were limited, because if you're coming from a church that maybe said, hey, don't fundraise from your network that's connected to us. Maybe some of you guys are out there and you've kind of had a fundraise in a bubble or in a box of like limited networking. We just built relationships with people, sent letters, followed up with, hey, we'd love to, if you guys want to partner with us financially, we'd love your help.
Locally? Or just friends of yours?
Just friends. Your network is your net worth is kind of the saying. So you got to reach into your network and call every single person you know.
That's a car salesman. Your network is your net worth. Go get them.
That's a Hodges thing. That's Chris Hodges lingo right there. But that's one thing. That's why I think that's why the ARC works, is because you take business principle. It's not church isn't a business, but imagine if every single person that looked at their church understood that God's called them, equipped them, and actually it's their responsibility to take care of to be a shepherd, right? If a shepherd of a group of sheep says, well, it's not my, I don't know about the food. That's not my, I don't buy all that food. That's someone else's job. Or I don't, pay for the medicine for my sheep. That's someone else's job. I think so often pastors try to look at like money and they try to make it like, oh, that's business stuff. And I'm like, no, there's business aspects of every single, whether it's a nonprofit that helps orphans in Africa or a church that is trying to thrive in an unchurched area. You have to look at every single possible area that you could fail in and go, okay, let's figure that out. So the more money you have on the front end, it's freeze dried work. Mm-hmm. If I would have raised $1 million, maybe we would have been, maybe we would have had 600 people have gotten saved right now because I would have had a healthier kids ministry that I could have hired early on. So I feel like fundraising is necessary. You got to do it.
Okay. So last part of this is I want you to pretend that you are a coach to not necessarily people who haven't planted yet, but a pastor who is either taken over a church or their church has been going for like 5 years and they're trying to break through the next level. They don't necessarily have a huge budget. They don't necessarily have, the social media game, the website game on point. But they're trying to know, like, what do we do to reach more people? And you are their coach. You're probably going to talk to 1,000 different pastors right now. Like, from your experience with ARC and the success that we've had at Active so far, what are the coaching tips that you'd give?
Yeah, that's first of all, if you're listening to this podcast and you're going, we're stuck, or we're feeling kind of like we're in a funk. You're not alone. There's 4,000, or what is it? I think 4,000 churches a year. 400,000 churches a year are closing. That's the stat right now, according to the last Grow Leader Conference. Chris Hodges threw that out there. So I don't know where he got it from, but that's what he said in front of 4,000 pastors. Okay. So you're not alone if you're feeling like you're stuck, or you're feeling like your church you've hit some growth, you have some growth limiters or whatever. I would say number one is I would say, what are you doing right now that's wasting your time or that you don't even like doing? What are you manufacturing energy for? Maybe it's that midweek thing that you guys have always done. You're like, well, we've always done a Wednesday night thing and we can't stop. Why are you going to do it? If you're manufacturing energy for it, I would say start cutting out things in your ministry calendar that are wasting your time because you're not even excited about it. So that's the first thing. So stop manufacturing energy for things that are not helping you move the dial. The second thing I would say is start asking young people in your church to have a voice. Don't just wait for the loudest voice to come to you, because you will hear, Pastor, the reason why we're not growing is because we don't have a good Awanas program anymore, or because, we stopped doing the old men's breakfast we had, like that.
Don't insult I know him.
Yeah. Yeah. But honestly, like that is like the squeaky wheel gets the oil or whatever. Like that's not how it works in church growth. You need to figure out, what are your values? What do you really care? If you really care about reaching people, then stop doing things that are just appealing to people that are already saved. Stop. And start looking at your budget, looking at your time, and start investing and ask young people, why do you think young people don't come to our church anymore? Why do you think we used to have this success? What happened? And start asking younger people for their opinion. And really, I think you'll learn a lot. So start listening to new voices. And then the third thing I would say is, if you don't have an online, like, people don't look at churches. They don't come to sit in a service anymore and go, do I really like this church? They're going to go online. They're going to look at your Instagram. They're going to look at your Facebook. They're going to look at your messages online, your website. If you don't have a clean front door as it relates to your online presence, you will not be successful in reaching new people, because they're going to look at the best, even with the best, you're the best church in town, but the next guy down the street has a better looking Instagram feed and a better looking website. They're going to go to their church first, and they might get plugged in. So again, it's not about faking it till you make it, or but just clean up your website, clean up your Instagram, or get an Instagram, get a good Facebook feed going. And I think you'll be on your way to a better church season. So.
Last thing, numbers. How much did you spend on direct mail leading up to your church?
Oh, we spent, it was $9,000. Yeah.
And, I know we did it for you, but I don't remember what the spend was on your Facebook ads leading up.
I think it was 3.
Was it 3?
Yeah. So we dropped, I think we dropped just under 12,000 on marketing from that perspective.
Would you spend it the same looking back?
Yeah, in our market, yes. Mm-hmm. Direct, even if you talk to anyone here, like, direct mail works in slow.
It does work, but here's the deal. On Sunday, the first Sunday, you said, raise your hand if you saw us on Facebook, 50%. Raise your hands if you got the direct mail, about 50%. But the budget didn't reflect 50%. So that was, an unequal amount of money for each one.
A lot of people held on to that and came eventually, though. So a lot of people held on to that piece of mail and said, we kept wanting, like, one of our best like admin girls right now, Kat, she was like, I held on to that thing. It said this flyer could change your life. And on the back it says, that's stupid. A flyer can't change your life, but we know a church and a God that can, or something like that. And so she's like, I hung on to this thing for like weeks, and she finally came. And now she's like, she does all of our like data entry, all of our follow up. Like, she's an amazing asset to our team. And so that came because she held on to that piece of paper for a few weeks.
Thank you for coming and doing this. I mean, I think it's valuable. There's a lot of people that are going to listen to this. I hope they get something from it. If somebody wants to hit you up, how can they hit you up?
Yeah, follow me on Instagram, adam.magana. You can go on to Facebook as well. And follow us on Instagram and all the social medias at My Active Church,